Hey everyone, Jamie here, triathlon nutrition coach from Triathlon. So, in today's video, we're going to talk about whether you should add the calories that you burn from training onto what you eat. Good question, indeed it is. So, let me take this a little bit further. So, nowadays, with our various devices, Garmin, Sunto, Polar, Fitbit, Apple Watch, God knows what else. We've got things which will record when we move and train how many calories you burn. So, especially this is true in it's true across all fields of people who train and exercise, but certainly within triathlon and endurance-based sport, chances are you're always wearing something, either for it to measure your distance ran, or cycled, or it's a heart rate monitor if you train with zones in that sense. So basically what you will get is then some feedback. So that could be daily feedback or feedback from the session, the training that you've just done. And in that feedback it will say, oh, Jamie, let's use me as an example. Jamie, you've just been on a bike ride for 2 hours and you've burned 1200 calories. You're like, right, happy days. Now, for me to maintain my weight, I'm roughly eating 2,000-ish calories, give or take. So does that then mean that I can eat 3,200 calories and still maintain my weight? Interesting question, indeed it is. So, let's get one thing straight. These devices overwhelmingly will overestimate the amount of energy that you've burnt. Alright? By how much, I don't know. But what my experience of coaching many endurance athletes tells me is that when they eat back their calories, they eat way too much and actually end up gaining weight. So, ironically, when people train for really, long distance events, ultra events, Ironman, that sort of stuff, their devices will be telling them that they need to eat so much more food, that they do eat so much more food, and they get fatter. So clearly, physiologically, that does not tie up with what is happening with the technology. Alright? So, having said that, you are obviously training, so you do need to eat more calories than you would do if you were not moving at all. But how many is very difficult to say. So, let me explain what I do with people. When I work with people one-to-one, what I will do is obviously assess them, look at what their training is, and then I'll use certain calculations, formulas and stuff, but also my own experience, and I'll also look at their lifestyle and how much they're moving day to day, and I'll guess how many calories they need. Alright? Now it's not a guess, a figure plucked out of thin air. As I say, it's based on some science, a lot of experience, and kind of the information they give me. So depending on how accurate that is, but obviously the intention is to get that very accurate. So I will come up with a number and we'll say, right, Jamie, you need to eat this week 2,500 calories, for example. I want you to monitor your weight, have a look at it, see how things change. If you gain weight, then that means that your calories are too high. If you lose weight and you don't want to, that means your calories are too low. And so then we make adjustments to the calories until we get the number which is correct for that person and their goals. Alright? So, simply eating back the calories that your watch tells you have earned is a surefire way for most people to gain weight. Now, whether these devices will become more accurate or not in time, who knows? I don't know why they're so far off, but they are. So the other thing that's important to talk about is that whilst these watches are far off, it's not just that they're far off. So metabolically and physically, we adapt to the training that we do. So, for example, and a lot of you will have experienced this, I know I have. When I started training, I was a bit fat, and that's why I started training, as is often the case. So I started running and lost weight simply, but I've been doing nothing. I've been sat around on my arse, not doing anything, just eating and messing about. Started training, lost weight, pretty straightforward. However, the weight loss then stopped. So why does the weight loss stop? Because I became a better runner, I became fitter, I became more efficient, and all of those things meant that I burned less calories than I did when I first started running. So, ironically, when you take part in sport, what you're trying to do is become more efficient at the sport that you're doing. But that efficiency, whilst making you faster for less effort, will also mean that you'll burn less calories. Alright? So the longer you're in a sport, the less calories you will burn. You will still burn calories, and as I say, like when I work with people, I figure that out. And I'm usually pretty close, but I'm not just saying this, it is genuinely down to experience and looking at someone's plan, looking at their day-to-day activity levels, and you can get pretty close. When you're doing it for yourself, unless you've got that experience and that knowledge, it can be very, very hard. And often, therefore, people will overshoot the amount of calories they require, and as such, they put on weight. So to recap, a couple of things are happening. Watches overestimate how many calories you're burning. Physiologically, you will adapt to the training that you do, both of which lead to you eating more than you actually need. And the best way to know whether that is actually happening, I'll use an analogy here. It's like someone once said to me when I was setting up in my business, there's a lot of coaches out there who will advise on business, and the best way to know whether they're a successful coach is to look at basically how much money they've made. So if they're a successful business person, they will have made money. That's why they're in a business generally. The same is true with diet. If you think your diet is right, but you're gaining weight or you're fat, simply your diet is wrong, and it means you're eating too much and you need to eat less. But don't make the mistake of eating way too little, because then that causes all sorts of other problems. So it's all about calorie management, not relying too much on the watch, understanding you're becoming more efficient with your training and your metabolism's adapting, and monitoring things. Alright, hope that helps. Any comments, thumbs up would be pretty good. Subscribe, that's what you're going to do. Subscribe, hit the link. I should really have some sort of button here which says subscribe, but I don't know how to do that yet. So just subscribe anyway. Alright, hope you find it useful. Any questions at all, feel free to post them below, or go on my website and send me an email.